Every half an hour, a farmer commits suicide in India. Quarter of a million farmers have committed suicide in India in the last 16 years. Reduction of subsidies and opening India's agricultural sector to the global market is considered to be the cause of this crisis. I met with environmentalist Dr. Vandana Shiva, who works closely with these farmers and has published a few books on why farmers commit suicide in India.
250,000 farmers, a quarter million farmers, have ended their lives in debt unleashed by the greed of the agrochemical and seed industry, and they are the same industry. People don't realize that people who sell poisons are the same people who sell us seeds today. Across the world, whether it be the US, whether it be Europe, whether it be UK, farm suicides are 3 times higher than the average of that society. The difference between Europe, UK and the US and India is farmers of India never committed suicide. Industrial agriculture and globalized agriculture came here so suddenly that it has been an absolute sudden wave of suicides, and the numbers are so huge, which shocks you. But farm suicides is the shadow of an industrial form of farming which is only serving the interests of agribusiness. Farmers are paying 10 times more, 1,000% more for seed, 13 times more for pesticides. The combination is pushing them into debt. And because they know this debt is not payable, and the debt has been taken for buying these chemicals and seeds against their land as a mortgage, when the agents of the seed and chemical companies come to collect the land, that's the day the farmer will end up drinking pesticide to end his life.
I went to Maharashtra, one of India's biggest states that records the highest number of suicide cases. Over there, I met a farmer who thought of committing suicide. He tells me why he thought of it and what made him change his mind.
वो 1987 का साल था। बहुत सूखा साल गिरा था। हमारे गांव में बारिश बहुत ही कम हुई थी। खेती पूरी सूख गई थी। इधर उधर करने का कुछ भी नहीं। छोटे छोटे बच्चे थे। अब क्या करना, कैसा करना। तो एक आत्महत्या करके अपन ने पृथ्वी का भार कम कर देना, ऐसा दिल में आया था। तो घर का जो गाड़े का दूसरा चाक मेरे रथ का था, मेरी बीबी, तो उसकी दृष्टि सामने आई। तो मैं जाने के बाद में इनके क्या हाल हो गए। अभी बच्चे तो छोटे हैं, फिर बड़े होने के बाद में लड़की है, वो लड़की की तरफ कौन देखेंगे। तो अपन फैमिली को लेके तो नहीं कर सकते। तो मेरे बीबी ने वो बताया कि ये अपना रास्ता नहीं है, क्योंकि आप खेती के कोई भी मट्टी के काम करो, हम मट्टी फेंकाएंगे, जो घर में है वो हो जाएंगे, अपन साथ में मिलजुल के ये खेती करेंगे। तो वहाँ से मुझे एक धीर मिला, आधार मिला का अपने औरत अपने को इतना आधार दे रही है तो सही रास्ता अपना यही है। तो उस समय क्या करना, तो मैं नागपुर में जाके कुछ रोजंदारी के ऐसे 6-7 महीने जाके काम किया। वहाँ से कुछ 2 रोटी कमा के वो कुछ पैसा मैंने साथ लाए और कुछ ऐसा छोटा मोटा खेती की तरफ दौड़े।
He now practices organic farming and says that this is the only way that would work for the benefit of farmers, as the seed supply is now in the hands of a few multinational companies such as Monsanto, a US based agricultural company that dominates the seed market in India. In Maharashtra, I met another family whose earning member committed suicide. The reason being common amongst many: increased cost of cultivation, whereas decrease in the output.
नापिकमुळेच केली असं ना।
हमारे काय
मालूम नहीं, सब उसके हाथ में था कारभार पूरा। घर में लाना देना सब उसके हाथ में।
खेती का जो उत्पन्न हो गया वो है ना कम हो गया बारिश की वजह से। और वो उन्होंने कोई जो सुसाइड होते समय उससे कोई बोला भी नहीं, किसको मालूम नहीं किसका कर्जा था, प्राइवेट का था, बैंक का जो अकाउंट में निकला तो बैंक का कर्जा निकला, प्राइवेट का मालूम ही नहीं, बताया नहीं, बताने से पहले ही सुसाइड हो गया वो।
बैंक का पासबुक था, उस अकाउंट पे हमारे ऊपर कर्जा निकला, वो करके हमारे को मालूम हो। हम समझो पढ़ाई की, तो हमारे घर वाले को पालने वाला कोई नहीं।
The family continues to have a loan on them and find it very difficult to repay.
6 एकर जमीन आहे, वडिलाच्या नावानं आहे. वडिलाच्या नावानं होतं ते आईच्या नावानं झालं.
परिवार किती मोठा आहे तुमचा?
परिवार आमचे 6 मेंबर, म्हणजे 3 मुलं. आम्ही 3 मुलं आणि आई.
बहिणी किती?
माझी पत्नी. बहिणी नाही.
बहिणी नाही.
एक मुलगी आहे.
आप कौन सा क्वेश्चन करना है करो ना.
उधर तहसीलदार को तहसील में से हमारे मिले 1 लाख।
वो पहले जो गुजर गए, बाद में हो गए तिवारी के पास। तिवारी ने पूरे प्रोसीजर किए तहसीलदार को, उससे पुलिस स्टेशन में जाके, उसके वजह से वो उनको 1 लाख रुपए मिले।
ये साल तो बहुत ही परिस्थिति खराब है। उससे कोई वो जब थी वो उससे भी ज़्यादा बेहतर खराब है। ज़्यादा हो गई, कुछ फसल निकला नहीं खेत में।
मराठी ते बोलत जा काय
750 था
पहिले.
बढ़ गए।
पहले,
आता
अभी बढ़
900,
गए।
950.
हम खरीदे नहीं अभी तक।
Small farmers are not given many options when it comes to borrowing from financial institutions.
The traditional borrowing by farmers used to be either the old money lender or the cooperative banks. The farmers have borrowed from cooperative banks and now they can't go to them anymore because they haven't been able to repay the loan. The new credit arrangements are through the agents of the companies. The very people who sell them the seed and the chemicals also give them the credit because it's a no loss game for the creditors, since at the end of it they get the land if the farmer doesn't pay back.
Dr. Shiva tells me what forces these farmers to take huge loans against their land, creating a debt cycle for themselves.
The government statistic shows that today nearly 80% of the rural debt is related to cost of cultivation, which means buying seeds and buying chemicals. That's the other thing. The seed the companies sell can't be planted the next year. Farmers must buy it every year. Whereas farmers' own seed can be saved in and year out and is a zero-cost economy.
Statistics show that most of the farmers who commit suicide are cotton farmers due to the introduction of Bt cotton, a genetically modified seed also known as GM crop that comes at a very high price and promises more produce. A cotton farmer tells me the problems he faces with purchasing Bt cotton and the output the seed produces.
हाँ, बीटी कॉटन में पहली बार जो बीमारी है झाड़ पर वो कम रहती है और 1-2 साल उसका अच्छा ये रहता है प्रोडक्ट, फिर बाद में कम हो जाता है. हाँ, गवर्नमेंट ने एक्सपोर्ट बंद करने से ये कपास के भाव एकदम कम हो गए. एक्सपोर्ट बढ़ाए तो कपास के दाम काश्तकार को अच्छे मिल सकते हैं. ये कपास के भाव जो बीज के भाव जो बढ़े हैं और कम होना चाहिए. आज के मात्रा में काश्तकार को ये कपास बीज के भाव पुरते नहीं, तो इसलिए गए साल के जो भाव है वही कायम रखना चाहिए.
We've just completed a study and found that 95% of all cotton seed sold in the country is Monsanto's Bt cotton. The country that gave the world cotton through the Indian varieties of cotton is today a country where the cotton growing farmers are committing suicide and cotton seed is now controlled by one MNC, Monsanto.
Farmers politician Kishore Tiwari agrees with Dr. Shiva and blames the MNCs for agrarian crisis in India. However, he believes that the only solution is to ban MNCs and withdraw farmers from agrarian practices.
The policies of the government which is allowing the multinational companies to take over the agriculture is the result, a net result of this crisis. If you want to protect the farmers, farmers should be withdrawn from these agrarian practices. Multinational companies should be banned. No foreign seeds should be allowed. No foreign fertilizer should be allowed.
Dr. Shiva offers a different solution and tells us how the government chooses to deal with this problem.
When the government keep saying the solution to suicides is keep giving more loans, what they're basically doing is saying let the farmers get into deeper debt. This is not a solution to suicide. The solution to suicide is lowering the cost of production, and the only one way you can do it, farmers should have their own seed and they should do ecological production. Farmers are committing suicide because of debt. Debt is created by costly non-renewable seed and costly toxic chemicals. Agriculture can be prosperous by getting rid of these chemicals. Agriculture can be prosperous by using seeds that are renewable, where farmers themselves are in sovereign control of the seed supply. We're wanting people to go for authentic organic cotton, whether they be fashion designers or they be cooperative arrangements of selling t-shirts. I am right now in the conversation with different groups, and I do hope the recognition that a suicide-free cotton is also a toxic-free cotton, and that everyone should be using cotton that has not taken farmers' lives and not polluted and poisoned the environment and our bodies. I think that is the way to go, an ecological agriculture that brings higher incomes to farmers, stops the war against the earth, and brings us safe food and safe clothing.
As is evident, government's failure with respect to agricultural policy and structural adjustment as well as globalization has resulted in the millions of suicide cases amongst farmers in India. If MNC domination of India's seed market continues and the current agricultural policies of the government remain, Indian farmers will continue to take their lives.